Why is the church so lukewarm? Why are there so many dead, moribund churches around? And I'll say the first problem is quite simply not preaching the gospel in churches on a Sunday. You can trace it down to not preaching the clear biblical gospel on a Sunday. And by the way, this is not something that's just happened suddenly. This has been happening over some time. In fact, recently I was just thinking about John Bunyans Pilgrims Progress, that famous book. You may have read it or seen it as a film or whatever. But there's a moment in that film where in the book, when Christian and Hopeful are walking along the road that leads to the celestial city, and the road becomes hard and bumpy, and they think, oh, this is too much like hard work. I know, let's get onto that path that runs alongside that looks more attractive, that path which is known in the story as Bypass Meadow. And there's a man walking down that path called Vain Confidence, and they follow after Vain Confidence walking down Bypass Meadow. But that road, which was walking seemingly alongside the path that led to the celestial city, starts to drift and drift and drift. I always think that in Hebrews 2 verse 1, where the writer says, let us be very careful to not forget what we have heard, lest we drift away from it. And they drifted, and before they knew, it's night, and it's raining, and the giant called despair has locked them up in Doubting Castle. And in many ways, I think that's a picture of what's happened in the modern church. We've taken the scenic route. We've drifted away from the path that leads to eternal life. And we found ourselves somewhere very different. In fact, during the pandemic, I'd say many people ended up in Doubting Castle.